Hey everybody and welcome back. I know it's me again. What the fuck is going on? 2 videos in a week? Surely not. I wanted to talk today about a thing that I'm noticing on social media, YouTube in particular. There's a trend going on, and a lot of people seem to be talking about the video game industry and why you shouldn't work in the video game industry and all kinds of stuff of that nature. And I feel like there's a need for some objectivity. And as always, I try to be the voice of reason in a highly sensationalized industry. And so I wanted to just like spend a bit of time, I suppose, riffing. I haven't got anything written down for this. I really just wanted to talk about, react to some of the comments that I've made online. Um, one of the most frequent ones that I seem to be seeing is a lot of people talking about, oh, jobs. People in game industry are losing jobs all the time. It's a really the job security is terrible, and I'm not going to dispute that fact. It's demonstrably true. But let's talk about the reason why that's true. The game industry as a whole, people are not playing less video games. Game industry itself is growing and growing and growing. More and more people are becoming more engaged with video games every passing day. And if that's the case, why are so many people being laid off? And the short answer is, um, how do I put this tactfully without being unnecessarily unfair? 90% of the people who start game studios have no fucking business starting a game studio. Starting a studio implies that you have a business plan, and that business plan revolves around more than just I made a couple of $100,000 from one video game, therefore I am officially a professional game developer, therefore I must officially know what the fuck I'm talking about, and therefore I'm going to start a studio and tell everybody else how to do it, or I'm going to employ a bunch of minions to do my bidding for me so that we can release another game. That is an incredibly naive way of looking at things. We talked about, or rather, I talked about in the last video about how getting a successful visual novel is largely down to luck. And again, I stress I'm not trying to take things away from anybody who's been a successful visual novel developer. If you've managed to make a living from it, that's amazing. And I'm genuinely pleased for you. I'd love to see people making a success of something like this. But the reality is that being successful as a game developer is it's just too much RNG, to use the right vernacular. Now, if you've got a few $1,000s saved up and you write your video game and you can afford to pay streamers, all from the smaller streamers like InSim and people like that, all the way up to the huge YouTube content creators like your Markipliers and your Jacksepticeye's. If you can afford to pay those guys to play your game, then the chances are you'll probably see a return in your investment, but you need that upfront capital. You need, and we're talking thousands to get these guys to play your games and give it exposure. And realistically, if you go with someone like a Twitch streamer like InSim, or I can't remember any others off the top of my head. I haven't watched Twitch for a long time. The only ones that spring to mind are the Hermitcraft guys, and yeah, they ain't gonna play your game because they play one game only for the most part. But the point is, if you've got the money to put into that, then into a marketing budget, then that's great. But most indie devs just haven't. They're people making video games in their bedrooms using borrowed assets or homemade assets, and it's just not a feasible business idea. So anyway, circling back around to my point, if you've had a successful video game launch and you've not spent money on marketing, then you are incredibly lucky, incredibly lucky. The problem is that people assume that because they've been successful on Steam or Itch or Epic or whichever store it is that they've managed to get a decent bit of traction on, they assume that that is because of their expertise and get lulled into the idea that they therefore must know what they're doing, and that they then are willing to open or start a game studio and take responsibility for a number of other employees, which is a dangerous place to be, because if it all goes south, and evidence would suggest that there's a strong chance that that will happen, I would say that the overwhelming majority of game studios don't last more than 2 years. not only are you screwing up your own life, but you're also screwing up the lives of all the people who come and work for you. And that's just incredibly irresponsible thing to do. So that's probably like the number one reason for jobs being just so insecure in the gaming industry. So if you are looking for work in the gaming industry, really genuinely have to do your due diligence. I can't stress enough that you've got to check out, do your research, find out information about the companies that you're applying to jobs for. Don't just accept a job for a company that has only been around for 6 months on the strength of one game, because the chances are in 6 months' time you'll be looking for a job again. And I don't know about other countries, but in the UK, if you go become a part of the benefit system and then drop out of it, getting back onto it is exponentially harder, because you then have to explain, you have to go through the whole process of explaining why you lost your last job and so on and so on, and it's a pain in the bum. So doing your due diligence if you're looking to work in the game industry is really incredibly important, and I can't stress that enough. Gamers are there are different types of gamers. There are people who play one game and one game only, like your hermit crafters, your Minecraft players, your Elden Ring players, people who just find one game that they really enjoy and they just play it over and over and over again because there's replay value, they enjoy it, they get creative in it. And then there are the types of gamers who will go with fads. They will play your Fortnite, and then they'll switch to CS:GO, and then they'll switch to Valorant, and they'll switch to one of the other trendy games, and they will jump from one game to another. But human beings, when it comes to spending money, you'll notice that quite a lot of the games I mentioned there are free, and ad revenue and product placement are the ways that these big companies make money. But you'll also note that most of the companies that make the games that I just named are big companies that already were established. Epic, for example, with Fortnite. So they can afford to take that initial hit where they're not getting paid for the game because they rack up the money through the microtransactions and so on and so forth. If you're an indie dev, you can't do that. Can't really. So the idea of all of these YouTubers perpetuating the notion that releasing a free to play game is an easy way of making money is just bonkers. It's just not. But anyway, I keep kind of circling back around to the point I've been trying to make in this video, and I've already stated it, is that game studios, most of the game studios that exist should never have existed. Like, I occasionally refer to my video game development endeavors as my game studio, but it's not a game studio. It's me sat on my fat ass in front of my computer, plonking away, typing code, making renders, messing around in Blender, making environments and things like that. But I'm not a game studio, and I have no aspirations to become a game studio for a very long time. Until I've learned the industry, I still learn, but I know enough at the moment to be dangerous. What I mean, what I mean by that is, I know enough to make observations about what's happening. That's why I didn't hit the roof like everyone else did when Unity changed their billing plan. Is because I knew, and as most people who overreacted at the time probably did know as well, just wanted to make a sensationalist video and get a load of videos, that it was absolutely a non-story. I mean, if you look at the actual criteria for when you start paying for Unity in the first place, you have to make quite a lot of fucking money before you even pay for it, and then it's only a very small percentage of what you actually earned. So all of these indie devs who are never going to make $100,000 from their first video game anyway, kicking off and screaming and effing and blinding about it. To me, that says more about them than it does about Unity, because if you don't appreciate how much work goes into making Unity or making Epic or making any games engine, and realizing just how much of the heavy lifting that those engines are doing for your game, then you don't deserve to be a game developer. You really don't, because a 3D engine takes a huge amount of time and effort, absolutely vast. It is so much code, I can't even begin to tell you. So, again, I've gone off on a tangent, and I do apologize for my tendency to do that. But my point is that um, don't just start a game studio because you've made a little bit of money, because all you're doing is asking to ruin your own life and other people. Okay, so if you are looking to start working in the gaming industry, make sure you do your research. only go and work for businesses that are going to be around in 6 months' time, because you don't want to keep constantly looking for jobs. Because as someone who has been a hiring manager in other companies throughout my life, I can tell you there's nothing bigger of a red flag than looking at someone's CV and seeing 6 months here, 6 months there, 2 years here, a year there. To me, that just says this person is either trying to farm me for free qualifications, or is not a very good employee because they've had to keep changing jobs. Okay. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm always keen to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And I will see you in the next one. But until then, you take damn good care of yourselves. All right. Bye bye.